Hello everybody and welcome to Jesse's Tea House. Today we have a new launch of 3 new teas, including a new tea pet and a new tea cup. This is our DogBox. For those who don't know, I run a subscription tea club where every 3 months I find 3 new teas from my tea farmer friends and my friends in China that run small tea shops. And we bring them over to here and we send them to you. So if you are a subscriber, welcome. I'm gonna take you through the teas that you're either about to receive in the mail or have already received. And if you're not, you can join at any time. Would love to have you in the tea club. I'm gonna go through each tea, what it is, why I chose it. We're gonna make the tea. We're also gonna discuss how we designed the packaging and why we made the choices we did. And then finally, I'm gonna recommend what type of person would be the right type of person to drink this kind of tea. Let's get going. So I'm gonna start first with this one. This is a 2019 Sister Eyes white tea. So for those of you who have never tried white tea before, it's really in some ways the simplest type of tea that you can make. They pick the leaves, they wither them, let them dry, that's it. And the result is that it has a really nice, light, fruity flavor. Sister Eye is a tea farmer that we've been working with for a long time. We have a lot of her teas on the website. We have videos of me making tea at her tea mountain. And so this was really great for us because we have some of her older white teas on there, but for people who are looking for like an easier entry point so they don't need to spend $100 on a tea cake, or just like have never tried Sister Eye's white tea before and have tried some of her others, this is a good one to try. Why did I choose this one? So the reason I chose this tea is because when we first went to China, to do Sister Eye's teas, we had a red tea, we had a raw pu'er, we had a show pu'er, we even had Tea Resins that came out, but we didn't have any white teas. And even later this year when we got white teas on the website, they're these big cakes. And so to be able to have a mini brick is something that's really fun. Also, one of the fun things about this is if you open it and you see inside, as I said, they're mini bricks. One of the good things of working directly with the farmers is we can tell them what shape and what style we want it pressed in. They have it loose over there, but shipping white tea loose is really difficult to package and difficult to ship because it's so bulky. But we're able to press them into these little mini bricks right here. And each of these mini bricks also has a special thing going for it, is that you can actually open them up and we've pressed them with a little ridge on the inside there. So you can see that the actual tea brick is ready to be broken into 2. So if you're drinking this by yourself, this means that you can maybe get 2 sessions out of this. If you're drinking with a second person, I would recommend using the whole one. But 4 grams as a session is actually not a bad way to do things. So right now we're gonna make the 2019 white tea mini brick. This can be, as I said, broken into 2. If you're drinking by yourself, you could have just 1. And I recommend people on the back of the box as well as the tea cards that are inside the box. This tea can be steeped at 90 to 100 Celsius. For younger white teas, they actually do benefit from a little bit of a cooler steeping temperature. You could even go cooler if you wanted to, although I found that it does do okay with the boiling temperature water. I had this water brought to boiling. And then sometimes one thing I do for white tea or these teas that are trying to get a little bit under boiling is just kind of let it chill out inside of the pitcher for a moment. The pitcher will soak up some of the heat. If you really want to do this, you could even pour it from one pitcher to another. But the white tea there, we're gonna be making it right here in this cup. White tea is a generally sweet and easy drinking tea. Is a good tea for people that really like having kind of a more floral, more fruity scent to what they're enjoying. And one of the things about Sister Eye's tea in particular is that it really does have those nice like floral notes that comes out of it. We're going to then use our gaiwan here to pour into the pitcher. The first steep of this is going to be very light because the leaves are actually not opened yet. If you look at the mini brick over there, you can see that they're basically still fully formed in there. So this is a sort of tea that you could do a longer wash for if you wanted to, or even just, you can obviously drink this first steep if you would like. I'll have just a little bit of it so you can see. Pouring into the new dog cup and giving our new dog tea pet, and of course Nugget, a little bit of a bath. Cheers everybody, just giving a sip of the first steep, here we go. Oh yeah, it's actually really nice. When you're drinking it first time, I always advise people to drink the wash steep even just because you can see whether you like it or not. If you really like it, you don't need to be pouring your first steep out. That is very sweet. Got a nice little like fruity flavor in there. But I'm most eager to go to the future steep, so I'm going to be starting out right now with the next steep. You know, again, for people who are new to the Gongfu tea style, these multiple smaller steeps allow you to really experience the tea as it changes throughout the session. If you have one giant pot, it all tastes the same. If you kind of experience what the tea is like in the beginning of its steeping and towards the middle of its steeping and towards the end of its steeping, every different tea has a different progression. They generally tend to get a little bit stronger and then weaken out, but oftentimes you'll notice that like the flavors of the tea actually change pretty wildly between the beginning and the middle and the end. The beginning of this white tea, for instance, is that very sweet, very light. It almost tastes more floral, like it was a flower tea. There isn't that much like white tea flavor in there. But now as the tea is starting to open up, you're noticing that the color of the second steep is already going to be darker. And that shows that we're getting more of the herbal flavors that are coming out of the white tea. So here's the second steep. I gave that probably 20 seconds or so. And now you can see, even though it's only been a very short time, that tea color is quite different. From my view, it looks beautiful. You can see the little floating white hairs in there. Those are called the hao. Those white hairs are what the white tea is named after. And again, very fun to be able to pour it into the dog cup. These cups and the dog tea pet are available if you want to have them as part of your subscription as well, or you can just get them independently. We actually hired an artist to paint this dog based off of historical dogs that we saw in Chinese paintings, but we didn't own the rights to the paintings. So we hired the artist, and it's like, if you were a traditional Chinese artist, which you are, draw us a dog that is derpy as hell, and we have the rights to. And so that's what's on the cup, the dog that we commissioned. Oh, really good. Yeah, the herbal flavor is already there. Second steep already. You can see the leaves are now coming apart. It's no longer like chunks. The leaves smell really fruity. This white tea is a type of tea that I can recommend to people that like, you know, lighter, sweeter drinks. They're not looking to have like any sort of like heavy or bitter flavor in their tea. They want sweet, they want crisp. And even the herbal scent, the herbal part of it is mixed with this fruitiness, which is really a characteristic of a lot of sisterized teas. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our packaging, both the packaging of the bag as well as the packaging of these little mini bricks, the foil wrapped mini bricks as well. There we go. And for that, I'm going to invite Claire, our packaging designer, to give us just a little bit of her thoughts on what went into making this.
Hello tea friend, this is Claire Lu. I am your brand designer and packaging designer. The inspiration of this art of design is the beautiful nature of Qianjiazhai. It is located in the Ailao Mountain Nature Reserve with an altitude of above the cloud, which it is 8,900 foot. It is a well-known tea mountain in China with a breathtakingly waterfall scenery. By using the color of white and blue on the packaging, it is to emphasis on the above the cloud element and the Asian tree with its special tree marks. It can only appear on the body of the tree when the tree's age is at least hundreds. And this time the tea was pressed into shape of biscuit with a splitting in the middle to give people more sipping options. Each tea biscuit was packed in aluminum foil paper. You can put it in your bag or your pocket, so enjoy your cup of tea anywhere, anytime.
Thank you, Claire. For you guys who are subscribers already, look forward to drinking this one. If you were gonna drink all three in order, I would drink them in this order like I'm doing now. Go from like lighter to darker. But you can really enjoy it in any way you want, and I hope people really take advantage of those split bricks to get extra value out of the times where you're just drinking by yourself and you don't need too much tea leaf. The next tea, very excited to share with you, is our premium selection Qimen Red Tea. So what is this? This is a special type of red tea. It's called Qimen Red Tea. It's from the town of the district of the Qimen in Anhui province. And this is the tea that is normally used in blends like Earl Grey and in English breakfast. So for many Westerners, this is black tea. Of course, in China, what the Westerners call black tea, the Chinese call red tea, and we generally do things here according to the Chinese tea culture. So this is called the Qimen Red, but it will be very familiar with people that have only tried like Western teas before. If you went and were ever a customer of my tea sampler, you'll know that we have a Qimen Red tea in the sampler. This is a even better version of it that we're going to be using now and slowly replacing the old one with this one. The reason I replaced it is because we're bigger now. We can get better tea and better deals than in 2021 when I started making the tea samplers. We basically had to work with what other people had already created and had already packaged because we didn't have the scale to be able to do our own package design and our own packaging. But with that opened up the option to get even better tea from different wholesalers and from different tea farmers. And so now we're using that to upgrade our Qimen, and it's never been a part of the subscription before. So if you're interested in trying the Qimen and you haven't, I would do that. I also wanted to use this as an opportunity to kind of share something that's important for me as a tea drinker that is a little bit harder to get across on social media. A lot of times when people see tea, they're like, oh, this tea is in an orange, that tea is in a mini brick, that tea is in a giant cake. If it's visually very different, it's easy to explain to newer people why they should try the new thing. It's a little bit harder for me to get across, like they grow Qimen Red Tea in many different farms across the region, and they can taste different from each other and have their own personalities. As a tea drinker, I always want to be drinking new teas, but I also see a new tea of the same type from another mountain, another provider, to be its own sort of thing. And there's so many levels and grading to the teas that even if you've tried my Qimen before, I encourage you to try another Qimen. And this is something that in the long term, I think is important to educating the tea audience around the world, because I don't want to be in the position of like, oh, I can only make teas for people that come in weird shapes. Because that would be a real loss of the depth that's available for the Chinese tea culture. And so that is why this tea is in our subscription box. We're gonna make this tea right now. For this tea, you want about 5 to 7 grams, which is, here, I'm gonna put it on my little tea scoop here. You can, oh, that smells so good. There's like an amazing, like fruity, fresh, almost a little bit nutty smell that comes out of the bag right there. I'm gonna use my tea scoop here. These leaves are very fine. This is one of the ways that you can tell that it's a very high grade. The leaves are very small and very fine, but they are unbroken. One of the, we're never going to get to full 100% zero breakage on its entire trip around. This here, again, is maybe, I'd guess, about 4 grams. It's a little below what you might need for a group, but for myself, it seems about right. Bam, into the teapot. And this tea as well can be steeped at boiling, but I do find with Qimen that you get a little bit of a sweeter flavor that I prefer a little below boiling temperature. So again, I'm gonna do what I did with the white tea. I had my water that had cooled a little bit from boiling. I'm gonna cool it even a little bit further from boiling here, and be ready to enjoy the Qimen xiang, the Qimen fragrance, which is what this tea is best known for. This first wash steep, very fast wash steep. I want to give it basically as fast a wash steep as I can. And the reason is because these leaves are very small, you have more surface area. So that wash steep will immediately start steeping the leaves, and we don't need to wait a little bit longer like we did with the tea brick, which was pressed and takes a little time for the water to get in. This stuff is there immediately. Yeah, I love it. The Qimen fragrance is a little bit hard to describe. It's almost like it has some nuttiness in there, but it's also got some floral notes, and it's also very like, I don't know if spicy is the right word, but there is almost an element of like, I get a little bit of spice in there. Maybe not like cinnamon, but like, kind of white pepper, spicy stuff. This is our first wash steep, and you can see it's very clear. I'm gonna take again just a little sip of this and give the rest to the tea pets here for this wash steep. Cheers. Enjoy. Yeah, the wash steep is very light, but already the sweetness is there. One of the great things about Qimen is that it has this Great combination of sweetness and smoothness, but also it has like a little bit of like a malty caramel thing going on. Oh, I love it. Let's get into the real deal. By this time, my water has naturally cooled to 92 Celsius, which is a little bit less than our boiling. And I think it's a good time to, you know, this is a good thing to remember that even though I include these tea cards in the box, every tea comes with steeping instructions. You can see over here, it's got the name of the tea, the year of the tea, the steeping instructions. It has a back, it'll link to this video to show you guys how to make it. Even though I give you all of these notes for time, I really encourage people to experiment a little. And you notice like I'm sticking vaguely to my times, but I don't have a timer here. I don't have a scale here. One of the benefits, as I said, of having good quality tea, you can make it in different ways. It's gonna have different personalities at different steep times and temperatures. You know, you gotta, to some degree, decide what you like. And I can be a part of helping you there and getting you the good tea. But wow, look at that color. It's really pretty from here. I hope it shows up as nice as it does from my perspective here. But it's really, really nice. We have lots of floating little white hairs in there. Again, sign of good quality, lots of tea hairs. And the color is this really nice kind of very light caramel type thing, very light amber gold. Cheers. Bam, that's there. So it's like, it has this really great sweetness that isn't like, it's not overly sweet. So a lot of people who are not maybe used to Chinese tea, if you're used to drinking tea that's like high fructose corn syrup or white sugar, it's not quite that sweet. But if you are not eating white sugar immediately after or before, and which is why for tea snacks, I generally encourage people not to eat stuff with white sugar in it to blow out your palate. But even then, it has this sort of like, more like a honey sweetness. It's not really competing in the same lane in your tongue as white sugar. But with that, and a sweet aftertaste, really nice sweet aftertaste. It's one of the classic types of Chinese tea. So Qimen Red Tea has a nickname that's called the Hongcha Huanghou, the queen of red teas. I'm gonna read the bag for you real quickly, what we wrote over here. It says, 解析茶馆, Qimen Xiang. So 解析茶馆 is Jesse's tea house. Qimen Xiang is the Qimen fragrance. Hongcha Huanghou, queen of red teas. Anhui Sheng Huangshan Shi Qimen Xian. So this is where it comes from. So Anhui is the province, Anhui province. Huangshan Shi, the Yellow Mountain city. And Qimen Xian, the Qimen district. This says 一芽一叶,一芽二叶. So one bud, one leaf, one bud, two leaves, type of tea that it's made from. And then it says 微调, 揉年, 发酵, 烘干. So these are the 4 steps in terms of making the tea. 微调 is to wither the tea leaves. 揉年 is to roll or to knead the leaves. 发酵 is to ferment the leaves, and then 烘干 is to roast dry the leaves. And so these are the steps that are involved in making it. In terms of the design, I'm going to send it over to Claire, who's our designing manager, to be able to tell you how she came up with this design.
Hello tea friend, this is Claire Lu. I'm your brand designer and packaging designer. The inspiration of this art of design is from the history of Qimen Red Tea. This tea has been a part of the foreign tea culture since the late 19th century, and Qimen Red Tea has won the title of Queen of Red Tea. On the packaging, we used the element of classical style of calligraphy. The characters can be only read from right to left, and often on the top or the bottom part of the calligraphy, we could see the artist's stamps. So we made our tea house's own stamp and incorporated that into our packaging. By using the colorful gold and the colorful maroon on the typography, it is also to align with the personality of Qimen and its steeping taste. It's floral, smooth, nutty, and sweet.
Awesome, thank you Claire so much for that explanation. We worked really hard on trying to think through this entire experience for you guys, and you know, it's hard to get that part of culture across, where you, like, you know, when you're in China, you go to the tea market, you see the depth of the culture. And when you're in, you know, other parts of the world, it can be hard to see this sometimes. So I'm glad to be able to be part of making that work for you guys. Cheers. Look at that red color there. Love me some Qimen. And this tea, again, a reminder, is a good tea for people who are new to Chinese teas. This is what in many people's mind is black tea. This is the base of many different types of British blends. It's just a much higher quality version of that tea base that would be in the blend. And it's really good tea for all weathers. And I'm glad to be able to get an even better Qimen onto the website. If you liked our old Qimen, try this one. But we're also going to not have any more of that old Qimen. It'll kind of be in samplers until we run out, and the new samplers we restock are gonna have this guy in it. Ah, that's great. The third tea, which is actually 4 teas. This is a sampler of tea resins. So if you have no idea what a tea resin is, I'm gonna open this tin, it's gonna blow your mind. All these little pieces are in fact really, really concentrated, real brewed tea. If you guys noticed, we posted a video last week, which is me on the tea mountain with Sister I, showing people how this resin is made. It's an incredible process. They take ancient tea tree, really good leaves, and they make a giant wok of it. And while they're brewing that down, it gets very, very concentrated, very, very concentrated. You can only do this with good quality tea, because otherwise, if it's getting bitter, it's going to leach into the resin, and it's just gonna get more and more concentrated. But really good tea, reduced to this resin, winds up creating this, this product which is almost like an instant tea, but is made from the real brewed leaves. It's dissolved, and then when you dissolve it, you can drink it. It's really good for travel. You can keep one of these in your bag at all times, and this is the easiest way, the best way to have really good tea on hand at all times that you can just throw in a thermos or do anything to. So I'm very excited to get to you not just the tea resin, but a sampler of 4 of them. If you look in, there's a red one, that's our red tea resin. There's a rose-colored one, which is our rose red tea resin. The gold ones are the show pu'er, the cooked pu'er tea resins, which we've already had on the website. It's the same one as the other show pu'er on the website. And then there's also this little guy, the silver one, which I'm gonna make today for you, which is the Qianjiazhai tea resin. Qianjiazhai being dried orange peel. So it's almost like an orange show in resin form. So again, this resin is a really interesting type of way that tea is made. It's very, very not finicky. This is not the one where you need to have a very specific tea time and temperature. It really doesn't even need any specific amount of water. It's entirely dependent on what you want to do. As long as it dissolves completely, you're good. So we have it here. I'm just gonna be making it in my pitcher. You could make this in a mug. You could make this in a water bottle. You could take a thermos to work and you know, just have it dissolved in there. And I'm just gonna stir it around a little bit with my tongs here just to aid it in getting dissolved. The temperature as well, you can really do anywhere from like 60 Celsius to boiling. It really doesn't matter in terms of the flavor. The hotter the temperature, it will dissolve quicker, but the hotter the temperature, you may actually need to wait in order to drink it. I'm making it here at 80, which by the time I think it finishes dissolving, it takes a minute or two, that we'll be able to basically just drink it straight. You know, while I am dissolving this tea resin, maybe give you guys a little bit of a clearer view. I just want to share about the process of making these, because when I brought back tea resin in 2023 in the original Sister I's Master Box series, it was the tea that I think the most people were interested in because they had never seen it. And it was originally designed, as Sister I told us in the video, which you should watch, because tea farmers were always looking for ways of being able to carry more tea on the really bad roads in Yunnan. So the tea horse trading route, which was this trading route from Southeast Asia up through Tibet, is one of the most well-documented trading routes. It's up there with the Silk Road. It's a very old, very developed trading route. They were going on these long mountain hikes with donkeys and horses. And so that's part of the reason why the tea farmers came up with all sorts of innovations about how to pack their tea. They were able to press tea into cakes in order to have it be able to transmit well. And one of those ways that they came of storing lots of tea in a very small space is tea resin. It also is now beneficial to us in the modern day because you can just throw that in a bag. So even though it is a, maybe it might seem to be a little bit closer to the sort of modern Western fast consumption society, it actually doesn't have its origins there. And again, whether you decide to drink tea fast or slow, whether you really mindfully make your tea well or just throw it in a mug, these are your decisions to make, whatever makes your tea time best. I would encourage you though, to even when you're drinking this, this tea resin, you can have it on the go, but it's also good for being able to just have around the house. So you can wait for it to completely dissolve, but it will continue dissolving while it's sitting there. And you can see the color that came out of this thing. So one piece of that resin, not even fully dissolved yet, created this very dark, very flavorful orange chou pu'er taste. And this is a real treat to be able to share with you guys. Cheers. Oh, it's just really drinkable. It's orangey, it's aged orange peel, Qianjiazhai, so it has a little bit of funk in addition to the orange. It is the chou pu'er as a base lends it a good body. It's sweet, it's citrusy. It's a great tea. And this is the sort of stuff, again, I bring hiking because it's really light. That I just keep these in my backpack. Like anywhere I go, I take my backpack, and anywhere my backpack is, I know that like if I can find some hot water, I can get some tea. Doesn't even need to be boiling water. I believe it will also dissolve in cool water or cold water eventually, but it will take a lot longer. And this tea resin sampler comes in the subscription box. So if you subscribe to the tea club, you'll not only get the Qimen Red Tea and the white tea cakes, you will also get a full sampler, 20 resins, so 5 of each flavor. And we also have individual boxes of each of the tea resin flavors. So if you find that like, hey, I really like the orange peel or I really like the rose, you can buy just 20 tea resins of those as well. This is new. As far as I know, we're the only people selling the chou pu'er I've seen in some other places, although it's hard to get. All the other 3 that are in the sampler, I don't know of anyone else that is doing them. So I'm very excited to be able to get that to you. And again, like, you know, look at the depth of the color that comes into this. Concentration wise, you could have this in, you know, this is like maybe an 8-ounce cup. This is about as concentrated as I would drink it. But you could also put this in like a 40-ounce, like big thermos. It will be more watered down, but the flavor will still be really nice. Ah, really good. So again, nothing but tea, no chemicals, no, you know, coagulants, no anything. It's just tea that was brewed down long enough to the point where it turned into a resin and hardened. That's what we did. Cheers.
Sister I Tea Resin sampler is finally launched. First is the preservation. We use the hot sealed bag to best preserve the taste and the fragrance of the tea resin. In addition, each tea resin we use its individual full wrapping paper to differentiate each flavor. Second is the portability. We used a aluminum sliding lid tin. You could put it in your bag or your pocket wherever you go. Last not least is the information. We have a tea card inside the tin and a more detailed sipping instruction on the back of the tin.
And finally, before we go, everybody would literally destroy me if I didn't take you through a look at our new tea pet. I love this little dog. I need your comments. Let me know what I should name the dog. But these dog tea pets are also going to be available for everybody. If you're a subscriber and you subscribe with the tea pet option, that's what you're getting this cycle. He's just so patient. He's just so patient and waiting for his tea. It's great. And we do want to thank Nugget, Last Round's tea pet. Nugget is a hero. Nugget traveled all over Europe with me. Nugget is a baller. Anyway, thank you again. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for listening to me babble about tea for all this time. If you're a subscriber, I really think you're gonna enjoy this round. Thank you again for all your support. Like straight up, the subscription is what allows me to kind of run the website. The amount of time and energy that I put into making these teas, designing the packaging, coming up with the right products, these don't work unless I have a core group of people that are really supporting me every round and allowing me to make these decisions where I can know, like, get the good tea now and don't worry about whether it will sell. We have the subscribers there. So for those subscribers, thank you so much. For those who are not subscribers, think about signing up on this round. You get all of this great stuff, and it is a way for me to be able to just pick the good teas and send them to you. They also come pretty heavily discounted. Every box is a little bit different, but the subscription is $58 for all three, and it comes once every 3 months. So 4 times a year, $58. And if you subscribe, it's 10% off. So it's like $53. And so this comes out to like far less than $20 a month. It's a really good way of being able to have good tea consistently show up at your place, and to be able to help support Sister I, our small farmers we work with, and support the channel. If you like the videos, you know, I'm able to make the videos because a small group of heroes sign up for the tea club. So I appreciate it, you guys. If there's anything else you want to know about any of these teas, let me know. If you'd like a video where I make all 4 of the resins and do reviews, I'm also up for doing that. Let me know if that would be of interest to you. And if there's any other tea stuff you want to know in general, as always, please like, subscribe, comment, and thank you all again for your time. I appreciate it. I'm Jesse. 多喝茶, drink more tea.